Gathering resources efficiently and effectively is one of the most important things you can do in order to stay ahead of the curve in Call of Dragons. So, in this video, I'll be breaking down the talents of gathering resources, and I want to emphasize this video on Lay of the Land versus Windfall. What is up, guys? Meow, we're here back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. Before we get started, be sure to drop a like, don't forget to subscribe, and be sure to check out the resource gathering guide as well, because this is a sort of a continuation on that guide. That being said, let's start this video. So, gathering resources, as we discussed before, is of course the most important thing you can do in order to stay ahead of the curve in Call of Dragons, especially if you are free to play, pay to win, mid spender, low spender, whatever you are, gathering resources will always be a thing, especially gathering mana. So it was brought up to one of the community. Special shout out to HellRider for bringing this up to me. Is that Lay of the Land versus Windfall is actually a pretty common debate between most players. So I wanted to clear things up. Of course, this is with special help of the spreadsheet he provided to me. When does Lay of the Land become more valuable than Windfall? So if you don't know, Windfall is basically receive additional resource items when you deplete a resource point. So you pretty much receive, I believe it was three randomized resource chests. You get that as soon as you finish any node, regardless of what level it is. So if you finish at node level 6, level 5, doesn't matter, blah blah blah, you're gonna get a special chest. I have I have it here selected on my index. You receive a special chest for this that you can open at any time, and it shows up here. I think it was the standard resource bundle. You get it from that talent. So when does this talent become better than Lay of the Land, or rather, when does Lay of the Land become better? So if you first of all, we have to understand how Lay of the Land works. So if you don't know Lay of the Land, when your legion has been gathering for 1 hour and completes the task, your resource production in your city increases by 50% for 1 hour. So there is a common misconception regarding this, that it increases all resources, when in reality it only increases the resource that you have been gathering. So if you've been gathering mana on the open field, and then you return to your base successfully after at least 1 hour of gathering, you're going to have an increased city production by 50% on all of your gathering buildings. So example, all of these mana refineries are going to have a 50% bonus that also stacks with the item of the 25%, resulting in a net bonus of 75% from just these two things. And of course, you also get production bonuses from here, everything else 175 plus 50%, which is going to net you 225%, which is pretty significant and pretty massive, assuming you can juggle it properly. But when does this talent become more worthwhile than Windfall? Because Windfall guarantees three of those chests, so you're guaranteed at least 30,000 gold, or 7,000 times 5, 7,000 times 3, or 7,500 times 3, or 5,000 or 15,000 mana. Of course, I know that math isn't my best suit, but you get the point. So when does it become more worthwhile? It actually becomes more worthwhile when you have higher level resource production buildings. So for example, if I have level 24 production buildings right here, I am getting a base mana production of already 5,200. So I am already getting more than the special boxes. So at this point, I have now went past the breaking point without factoring in any of the extra bonuses. So if I had that talent on my gatherers, it would actually provide me with even more resources than that other thing. Because when you factor it in from three if you need at least three of the mana refineries or whatever resource production building, at least up to level 24 in order to break even. And if you have ore for 24 or above, you're gonna be getting a net extra income than any than the windfall um, buff, because you are pretty much guaranteeing yourself more resources than the windfall would give you. So let me just go through the spreadsheet and start explaining there in order to help you get a better understanding on this, because this is super important and I actually didn't realize it at all, and I even did the mistake of going for windfall on Indus, so I'll probably end up resetting her and go straight towards lay of the land. So that being said, let's head to the spreadsheet. So here we are in front of the spreadsheet, and we can start to see Way of the Land here being active, and we can start to see that when does it become more worthwhile than Windfall. So we can see here, with this is active at starting level 20, if you have every single bonus increased and working, you're gonna be already breaking even, but I still recommend at level 24 in order to guarantee yourself even more, and you're not going to be missing out on anything at all. You can also see that you're getting more increases from the policies here, from the resource item production buffs and everything here, just to factor in the maximum increase you can have of 255%, though not everyone is going to have 255%, which is why I emphasize at level 24. However, if you are the later on in the game you are, the better this lay of the land is going to be for you. So we can see here, once it is active, the spreadsheet he has provided states that everyone has 225% bonus. For example, I had around 175%. So for me, the break-even point was level 24 without including any buffs at all. So depending on the current buff you have, I would say start thinking of switching for your next season from Windfall into Lay of the Land, because it's just better overall and you're gonna be guaranteed more resources in the long run. So when you're gathering resources, you want to maximize how much resources you get, and resource productions building are actually pretty underrated in Call of Dragons, which is why this talent is completely crossed my mind and I didn't even bother looking at it at all till he messaged me and brought this up for me. So we can see here every single resource has a total increase, so you're pretty much netting 36,000 of every single resource of gold, for example, from a single resource production building. If you factor in all four of the production buildings, you're netting yourself that amount times four. And the same for every single resource. So you've already went past the breaking point, the break even point of the windfall chests, because they provide you pretty much with 10,000 wood or gold, or 7,500 ore, or 5,000 mana. So as soon as you start reaching with your resource production buildings level 23 or above, I personally recommend level 24, just to guarantee as much value as possible. If you are not gathering resources that much, you're just guaranteed more value as possible and a better return on your investment if you are gathering with other type of resource. Though one thing to keep in mind, it needs to be the resource you're targeting. So it does have a sort of drawback to it. That unlike Windfall, you can pretty much get every single type of resource. In Lay of the Land, you have to specify which resource you're going for in order to like finish up resource type in order to maximize the bonus and get as much resources as possible. We can see here, if every single building is level 25 here, you are getting a net total of 221,000 resources an hour. And of course, the same for mana, the same for wood, the same for gold, and of course, this is ore. So that's it for the spreadsheet. Let's go back to the game. So now that we're back into the glorious lands of Tamaris and Call of Dragons, I just want to quickly summarize your resource gathering talent trees according to your commanders, because right now we're down to 4 gathering commanders. I do hope they consider adding more gathering commanders in the future, at least 5 commanders or even 6 commanders, in order to like cycle out the commanders, and maybe when they eventually decide to add 6 slots of marches or something, we have more commanders or more diversity, be able to gather faster, etc., etc., etc. But that's a rant for another video. So with Chaksha, we're going to be focusing on ore in these. So we're going to go for the standard Earth's Grace, March Speed, Logistics, and then Mighty Power. Then we're going to go for Earth's Grace. We're going to go for gold or wood. That is up to you, but we want to grab the ore in order to increase his ore gathering speed. And then, of course, quick harvest, transport speed, logistics master, Earth's Grace. And then for me personally, I'm going to start using Clay of the Land, because I already have my resource production buildings at level 24, so I'm already way past the break even point, and it's just gonna net me even more resources in the future. And then when after he's level 43, I'm just gonna put every single point after that into mana, because of course mana is the most important resource in Call of Dragons. For Pan, we're gonna go for the same start, and but instead of gold, we're gonna go for wood, and then mana, of course, because mana is again the most important resource. We're gonna finish up transport speed, extra grace, and then finish into Lay of the Land. And this is a wood gathering commander, so again, she's pretty much gonna have the same exact talent tree of Pan as Pan. I'm gonna reset her for Lay of the Land, of course, because it is much better mathematically wise, and it's going to net me more resources in the long run. And of course, finally, Kella. We're going to go for gold here. I accidentally put a point in wood, force of habit, because I was specking pan and in this at the same time, so I accidentally put a point in wood. So I'm going to fix that later on when she is higher level. I put in Earth's Grace, and then finally lay of the land. I hope this video helped you, and if you did, drop a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, join our Discord. Let's have a discussion about this if you have a different viewpoint from him, from what HellRider has mentioned in his spreadsheet, or even you can just join our Discord to discuss it with him or me or whoever you want to discuss it with. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Meow meow!